Okay, go. Watch. About to hear this. You're a slave forever to these people. Not forever, but as far as they know.
Did you know that you are a slave to the Roman Empire since your birth? Your birth certificate is a contract with Rome, which basically declares you dead and lost at sea. We will dig into the history of these trusts that was created back in the 13th century and has enslaved all humanity on the earth ever since. Unum Sanctum is one of the most frightening documents of history, and the most quoted is the primary document of the popes claiming the global power. In 1302 Pope Boniface issued his infamous papal bull Unum Sanctum, the first express trust. He claimed control over the whole planet, which made him king of the world. Furthermore, we declare, we proclaim, we define that it is absolutely necessary for salvation that every human creature be subject to the Roman Pontiff. Unum Sanctum, His Holiness Pope Boniface VIII, November 18, 1302. It is not only the first trust deed in history, but also the largest trust ever conceived, as it claims the whole planet and everything on it, conveyed in trust. In celebration of the trust, he commissioned a gold-plated headdress in the shape of a pine cone, with an elaborate crown at its base. The pine cone is an ancient symbol of fertility and one traditionally associated with...
Okay, see your social security down there? That's how the queen collects taxes off you. That you're a debtor. You'll always be a debtor. This man, this paper bull that these people, the Onum Sanctum, basically states that they own the entire planet and every soul on it because of social security cards, birth certificates, things of that nature, and even people like in the jungle, they think they have control over them, and they ain't got a social and they ain't got a birth certificate, but they got a soul. That thing right there, that pine cone of them two peacocks is basically kneeling to. It's basically a mock in the face to what I feel would be the what is that thing called? What is it called? You already know you know what I'm talking about. The Ark of the Covenant. You know how the two angels, the cherub is bowing down? That's kind of like they little, it's weird. It's some weird shit going on. But that pine cone stands for your pineal gland, which is allegedly your third eye, which is the antenna that you connect to the Most High with when you pray and you talk to the Most High. So it's like your antenna, your receptor. These evil, wicked people eat those things. They kidnap children, other human beings, torture them to the brink of straight terror, and then they slit their wrist or their throat and they drink their adrenochrome, which is the adrenaline that you get when you're terrified or you're completely scared out of your mind. And then they have this thing called walnut juice. And the walnut is aka your pineal gland, and they eat that. And they get high off of it, like extremely high. And then it makes their skin get real elastic. It makes them look really beautiful and pretty after they've ingested it. And after they've gotten high off of it, it makes them look more youthful. Sick sad world. We gonna keep going into it though.
Baal, as well as the cult of Cybele. It also represents the pineal gland in the center of our brains. Crystalline in nature, which allows us access to source, hence the 13-foot-tall pine cone in Vatican Square.
The Earth's gravity changes
Crazy.
in spring.
Keep going, we're gonna keep going.
In a mass-altering dance. Maybe that's why in spring...
Pope Boniface VIII was the first leader in history to create the concept of a trust, but the first testamentary trust, through a deed and will creating a deceased estate, was created by Pope Nicholas V in 1455, through the papal bull Romanus Pontifex. This is only one of 3 papal bulls to include the line with the incipit, for a perpetual remembrance. This bull had the effect of conveying the right of use of the land, as real property, from the express trust Unum Sanctum, to the control of the pontiff and his successors in perpetuity. Hence, all land is claimed as crown land. This first crown is represented by the first Sestui Quae trust, created when a child is born. It deprives us of all beneficial entitlements and rights on the land. The second crown was created in 1481 with the papal bull Aeterni Regis, meaning eternal crown, by Sixtus IV, being only the second of 3 papal bulls as deeds of testamentary trusts. This papal bull created the Crown of Aragon, later known as the Crown of Spain, and is the highest sovereign and highest steward of all Roman slaves subject to the rule of the Roman pontiff. Spain lost the crown in 1604 when it was granted to King James I of England by Pope Paul V after the successful passage of the Union of Crowns, or Commonwealth, in 1605 after the false flag operation of the Gunpowder Plot. The crown was finally lost by England in 1975, when it was returned to Spain and King Carlos I, where it remains to this day. This second crown is represented by the second Sestuii Cuvae Trust, created when a child is born, and by the sale of the birth certificate as a bond to the private central bank of the nation, depriving us of ownership of our flesh and condemning us to perpetual servitude.
Okay, so the moment a child is born, they're owned through that birth certificate, which is sold to the Vatican and the Roman Catholic Church, which means you forever be in perpetual servitude to them, this nation, and Great Britain. So you a slave to Babylon, and you a slave to Great Britain, and you a slave to the Roman Catholic Church. From the time you born to the time you die.
As a Roman person or slave. The third crown was created in 1537 by Paul III, through the papal bull Convocation, also meant to open the Council of Trent. It is the third and final testamentary deed and will of a testamentary trust, set up for the claiming of all lost souls lost to the sea. The Venetians assisted in the creation of the first Sestuii Cuvae Act of 1540, to use this papal bull as the basis of ecclesiastical authority of Henry VIII. This crown was secretly granted to England in the collection and reaping of lost souls. The crown was lost in 1816, due to the deliberate bankruptcy of England, and granted to the Temple Bar, which became known as the Crown Bar, or simply the Crown. This third crown is represented by the third Sestuii Cuvae Trust, created when a child is baptized. It is the parent's grant of the baptismal certificate, title to the soul, to the church or registrar. Thus, without legal title over one's own soul, we will be denied legal standing and will be treated as things. Cargo without souls, upon which the bar is now legally able to enforce maritime law. A Sestuii Cuvae Trust is a fictional concept. It is a temporary testamentary trust, first created during the reign of Henry VIII of England.
Okay, notice down there, you'll see at the bottom, 1666. 666.
Through the Sestuii Cuvae Act of 1540 and updated by Charles II, through the CQV Act of 1666, wherein an estate may be effected for the benefit of a person presumed lost or abandoned at sea, and therefore assumed dead. Each Sestuii Cuvae Trust, created since 1933, represents one of the three crowns representing the three claims of property of the Roman cult: real property, on earth, personal property, body, and ecclesiastical property, soul. Each corresponds exactly to the three forms of law available to the gaoler of the bar courts. 1. Corporate commercial law, where the judge is the landlord. 2. Maritime and canon law, where the judge is the banker. 3. The Talmudic law, where the judge is the priest. So, while it might be difficult for some to completely understand the meaning of the Sestuii Cuvae Trust, what I have presented here are the history of how it was made. I have found a video that explains how this basically works, by them creating a straw man of yourself, based on your birth certificate, which is nothing but a slave contract with the Vatican.
Oh, this is about to get quite interesting because I didn't know this was going to be on this video, actually.
Ah, the government. It loves you and wants to keep you safe and well. It even wants to make paying taxes, fines, and court costs easier for you. How? Well, you'll need to meet your straw man. He was born the same day you were. He looks like you, has the same name, and lives in your house, but you never knew he existed. You will have even paid his parking tickets or taxes. The worst part? He's been dead from day one. From every birth certificate, a legal personality, or legal fiction, is created with the same name to confuse little old you into thinking it's you. So there's a human you and a paper you, or as it's commonly known, a straw man. So when it seems like government officials, court clerks, or the police are speaking English, they aren't. They're speaking legalese, designed to make you agree to verbal and written contracts without even knowing about it, all spun from Black's Law Dictionary. For example, when the police say, "Do you understand?" you'll say, "Yes." What they are really saying is, "Do you stand under our authority?" Oopsie-daisy, you just created a verbal contract with them. Oh, you clever government. Do you know that whenever you register something, you are handing over title to the person you register it with? That's right. Whenever you register something with the government, they assume it belongs to them. Register your car? Super! Now you are the registered keeper of your vehicle, and the government can crush it when you don't pay your, straw man's taxes. Expecting a new bundle of joy? Well, then you need to register your little darling with a birth certificate. Then they can start the process all over again and create a new straw man for your little one. Isn't that great? So when Junior grows up, he'll be able to generate revenue just like you have. When you notify on your baby by signing the birth certificate, your child becomes a ward of state. And if the government doesn't like what you're doing, they'll assume it's okay to take the child away or make new rules for things they don't like. Not enough school? Smacking your child? Shouting too loudly? Then it's off to social services for the little one. When you get a bill, it's sent to you but belongs to your straw man, not you. That's why bills, fines, and summons start with Mr., Mrs., or Ms. Sometimes you'll see your surname in capitals, just like on a gravestone. That's because your straw man is dead and just a silly piece of paper, created before you could comprehend or even consent to it. When you go to court, you represent your straw man, so you, the human, take on any costs, fees, taxes, and fines involved for the straw man. The human you doesn't even need to pay them. But you made a contract with the court by appearing on behalf of your legal personality or straw man, just like the government knew you would. Confused? Well, don't worry. The government doesn't want you to know anyway. If you knew, you'd stop paying things like council tax and parking tickets. Because when you go to court, you are representing your straw man. You are you, alive and made of flesh and blood. Your straw man, or legal personality, is a piece of paper created from your birth certificate. And you think it's you. What a silly Billy.
And that's that on that. So you not even you.